Welcome everybody to GoLocal Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. It is a busy day today. First, we're going to go to Bolzano, Italy and get an update from Rebecca Couto da Silva. Then 12 noon, Jennifer Lawless, chair of the political science department at the University of Virginia. She'll be talking about President Biden's press conference, the Flynn family and the lawsuit that they filed against CNN. We'll also take a look at how New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is doing. That story just gets bigger and bigger all the time. And then at 1:30, we'll have Dr. Michael Fine on. He's the former Rhode Island Director of Health. And today's Go Local edition is busy and updated already. The battle between different education interests continues to boil up. The head of the Providence Teachers Union says that the Commissioner of Education for the state of Rhode Island is manifesting a campaign to destroy the union. Take a look at that article as well as much, much more. Let's go to Bolzano, Italy. Rebecca Couto da Silva, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry for the tone.
No worries at all. Lots going on in Italy. Cases are up. The statistic was released recently that there are more deaths in 2020 in Italy than in any one year since World War II. If that doesn't put the pandemic into some local perspective for all of you in Italy, nothing else will. What's how are Italians feeling right now?
Yeah, I think it's still this thing, like we've been doing all of these lockdown measures and we're not seeing much difference. So why do we continue to do these measures, I think is a big sense. There's frustration about vaccine rollout. Here, I think it's going pretty smoothly, but of course we had the AstraZeneca scare and it's getting nice again and Easter Sunday's coming up. The national rule for Easter Sunday is that you can spend it with 2 adults that you don't cohabitate with, 2 other adults, and you have to be in masks the whole time, which is right.
Yeah, right.
People may follow the 2 adult rule. I don't know how you have your Easter brunch with masks on.
What are the churches doing in Italy? How will that be handled?
From what I've seen, it's no procession, no procession, no procession. They're trying to avoid being responsible for crowds. I think, the official position is very much, let's not create crowds. And the church seems to be going along with that.
Talk a little bit about, we're right on the border of whether or not we're going to see the 3rd wave. In Rhode Island, as an example, we've seen 2 steady, straight weeks of increasing cases per 100,000, but not that giant ramp up yet. And we're hoping and praying that this is just going to be a slow tick up, but we won't see that rocket ship upwards in the 3rd wave. In Italy, you're seeing the 3rd wave, no 2 ways about it. You've got cases and hospitalization issues all over the country. Is there any sense that this is going to let up?
Sense, I'm not sure. Of course, there's hope. We did, I think, if I'm not wrong, I read that Bolzano closed its special COVID wing or a special section because the number of patients was such that they were able to treat them in a place that doesn't have to be the sort of excess overflow anymore. There was some story about a celebration that was cause for celebration, but yeah, it's like every region is different. We've been under a lockdown more. I mean, I think it was a month that you couldn't go out and buy a shirt because that type of retail was considered non-essential. And therefore, anything that sold only clothing was closed. And then the clothing was roped off from purchase at other stores. So it's been very intense here. But yeah, I think, from what I've read, it's the variants that are sort of affecting a new native population in a sense, a new naive population, sorry, not native, of course. in the sense that you could get it again if you've had it once. But it is surprising. I mean, you see news reports coming out that mask use has been good, that this compliance has been good, that this compliance has been good, and yet you see the numbers that you see.
AstraZeneca is having problems. I can't remember if it's the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times said their problem isn't with their vaccine, it's with their PR and their management. So let's break down the issue. If you haven't seen it, in the US, they reported data to the FDA for consideration of an emergency use authorization, or are about to. And then the numbers that they claimed actually had some faulty data. They revamped the numbers and it came down slightly. It was 79% effective. Now it's 76% as they go for FDA approval. In the European Union, they had problems or perceptions of problems, and many countries shut down the use of that vaccine for a week or so. That's back up and running, correct? AstraZeneca vaccines are now being administered, correct?
In Italy, yes, it's reported that they're being used. So Italy basically shut it down and said, we're waiting to hear what the European Union organization says about it. So that's what they did. But yeah, I will let you know when I get my final vaccine card if I got that batch, because they said it was administered here in February, and I got mine on March 2nd. So it was, oh gosh.
You're either a little unlucky or a little lucky.
Yeah.
And then there's a controversy in Europe that, and I'm not sure if it's AstraZeneca or the Italian government has withheld, hoarded 29 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Do you know the inside scoop on it, what exactly is going on there?
So what I read about that in the Italian press was, of course, a position of saying, it's not that we're hoarding it, it's that it hasn't been quality control checked yet, and it hasn't gone through all the steps it needs to go to get out the door. So that's what I've read here. So
there's no Sicilian interest in control of that vaccine, as sometimes has happened in the past in Italy.
Yeah, no comment on any of that. But no, it's, what happened very quickly is that it was reported, no, we're trying to get this stuff out the door. It just, you need to go through all the steps, and you wouldn't want us skipping steps, would you? So.
Right. And then,
yeah.
Life, school for Olympia, your life, what's normal now?
She returned to school on Monday. Anyone in a red zone, I think the middle schoolers would not be in school. So a lot of the country, right? I think if Rome and Milan are in the red zone, then a lot of population is. And of course, half of the regions. But so she returned, and I think it was getting to her that the sort of distance learning, she was becoming extremely disorganized. And I would say, have you handled this? And she would say yes. And then the night before it was due, it was one of the assignments was this 10-page write-up of answering questions about a movie that she had watched 3 weeks ago. And I would specifically ask about this thing by name, and she would say it was fine. And then the night before, I saw that she had written 1 of 10 pages of answers. And I was like, are you kidding me?
But that
What's going on here?
That sounds like my entire educational experience from pre-K straight through to graduate school.
Yeah, but the thing is, she would, in school it would be more structured. And so it was this thing where we woke up at 4:30 on the day it was due. And I was like, this is getting done. And you can blame me and be mad at me all you want, but you got to do it. But it was like, from the beginning of lockdown to the end, just this deterioration of things. And, kids, they know how to mute each other on Teams. They know how to kick each other out of meetings. But Teams is actually pretty difficult when you want to display a PowerPoint, a multimedia PowerPoint. So you put a PowerPoint in and you present it and you click the link. People might not see or hear the link if you've chosen to present the PowerPoint only and not your full computer background, right? And they're 11, so they don't know
They're-
this.
So let me ask you a question. If you were going to judge the last year of your daughter's education versus the year before, what was the difference, and was it half as effective in the past 12 months as the year previous? 75%? Or did it work out to be okay?
It is such a difficult, like she and many others like her are transitioning. So in elementary school, she was in group B, and group B was the same set of kids, more or less, right? One might move out, one might move in, but it was the same set of kids. And she's again in group B, but it is not the same set of kids. It's maybe half of them are the same. And so any middle schooler, any first grader, anyone entering middle school, anyone entering high school has got this like huge social transition that really didn't happen. And that's just really disappointing. In terms of the effectiveness of the education, like I think it's not possible that it reflects the teacher's efforts, because everyone I know who's a teacher is doing quadruple time to be effective online. And everyone I know who's a parent of a child is like, God, these lessons are not landing, right? And so it's just one of those things where it's kids need in-person instruction. Some things I think are great, like use of apps to do grammar drills. It's like, thank you, because my child's a foreigner and it's really helpful that she can just go on the app and do it again and again and again. Whereas when it was all book learning, she couldn't. But, to just be on the computer every day from this time to that time, they're too young for that. I mean, I don't even know if we older people are fit for that.
Yeah, we certainly do it, but whether it's fit for it or not, probably not. Listen, you get the last word. Historically, as we've seen over the past year plus, Italy is that 4 to 6 weeks ahead of the northeastern part of the United States with upward swings. You've been in lockdown, you've been in that third wave. We don't know if we're going into a hard third wave or not. There's certainly some early indications, and the variants seem to be becoming a significant factor. What's your advice?
Yeah, continue to take it seriously until you know that you're better positioned than we are, because I think that perhaps there are two ways that you guys could be better positioned, and one is just in terms of density, and two is in terms of vaccination. We've entered into an agreement with the EU here, and it's like there's this push-pull, and come on, we need more doses, and okay, we're stopping all AstraZeneca, but we're moving on it. But the point is, like in Texas, they're on Monday opening it up to everybody, and they've got it open to 50 plus already. And here, I think we're starting, and it's province by province or region by region. And we're starting right now what's, I think, called the ultra fragile, which is 65 up, but we start it with 70 to 75, or 75 to 80, then 70 to 75, then 65 to 70. And so I think that you guys could be ahead in terms of vaccination. And if vaccination does stop the spread, then that could be a great thing. Otherwise, it's one of those things where it's just this nonstop. Like, I kept expecting the death rates to just go down and down and down every time I would check. And, you look at the worldometers and it's like, when are they actually going to go down in a way that reflects what we're doing, the measurements we're taking, because we've been doing a lot. So hopefully you guys don't run into it.
Rebecca Couto da Silva, thank you so much. I really appreciate, as always, whenever you are able to join us. It's incredibly insightful to find out what's going on in Italy and the rest of Europe. So appreciate, as always. For everybody else, stay tuned. Professor Jennifer Lawless from the University of Virginia, she'll join us at 12 noon. Dr. Fine at 1:30, and much, much more going on GoLocal today. Please check us out. And of course, please stay safe. Please wear your mask. let's get these numbers turned around and start getting them pushed down further as the number of vaccinations go up. This is kind of the key period of time. I think these next 2-3 weeks will make or break our summer here in Rhode Island. Everybody stay safe, wear your mask.